After the arrival of the two demon saints of the Hun clan, both of whom were at the peak of the 7-star saint level and were almost 8-star saints, Clan Chief Yao Dan found himself in a desperate situation. At this point, he could only try to save the younger generation of the Yao clan. Without any hesitation, he turned to Xiao Yan for help. Among everyone present, Xiao Yan had the greatest chance of escaping alive. Even old Shen Nong was prepared to support Xiao Yan and his group so that they could survive. "I will also use all of my strength," Shen Nong sighed quietly. Clan Chief Yao Dan wiped the blood from his face. His gaze swept over Yao Tian and the others, while his expression remained calm and resolute. "Prepare yourselves. I will distract Hun Jing and Hun Yan. The remaining elders of the Yao clan will help tear open the space." He stomped on the ground. Do Qi immediately surged violently through his body, and his figure shot into the sky, heading directly toward Hun Jing and Hun Yan, who were suspended high above. "Crazy!" The expressions of the two Hun clan demons darkened. Their attack, which had changed the color of the sky, shot toward Yao Dan, who had already unleashed his full strength. While the two experts from the Hun clan were engaged in battle with Yao Dan, the elders of the Yao clan also rose into the sky. They concentrated their explosive attacks on a single point. Space trembled violently. The area in front of them became extremely distorted, as if it had been forcefully hollowed out. Black flame symbols gradually emerged from within the distorted space. Under the repeated bombardment of the elders, the already fragile space finally exploded. "Hurry!" As the black flames dispersed, pink flames suddenly burst from Xiao Yan's body and formed a fiery barrier that enveloped Yao Tian, Yao Ling, and several other elders of the Yao clan. The North King protected Yao Lao from behind. The speed of the group was pushed to its absolute limit as they desperately rushed toward the area where a small crack had appeared in space. Explosions erupted throughout the entire Yao realm. The experts of the Yao clan were destroying both their bodies and souls, using the resulting terrifying energy to inflict heavy damage on the barrier. Xiao Yan's group charged forward at maximum speed, rushing toward the area where the greatest number of explosions was taking place. The seal in that region had already been shattered. If they could reach it, breaking through the exposed space would not be difficult. The experts from the various factions were also closely watching Xiao Yan. They understood that, in such a chaotic situation, escaping by relying on their own strength was almost impossible. Therefore, Xiao Yan's group had become their greatest hope. However, the Hun clan's goal was to destroy every living being within the Yao realm. Naturally, they could not simply allow Xiao Yan and the others to leave. The experts of the Hun clan immediately changed their target. They rushed over and surrounded Xiao Yan's group from every direction, intending to finish them off. Xiao Yan's expression froze. He was just about to attack when old Shen Nong, standing behind him, suddenly swung his staff. Immediately, a vast green sea of flames rapidly spread outward. Countless green vines intertwined and wrapped around the figures that were stubbornly rushing toward them. Xiao Yan breathed a sigh of relief when he saw old Shen Nong attack. "Lord Nihility, stop Xiao Yan. That brat also possesses the Tuasha ancient god Jade." Hun Huzi, who was still fighting Elder Wan Ho, hurriedly shouted when he saw Xiao Yan's group getting closer and closer to the exit. However, the Nihility devouring flame coldly replied with obvious irritation. "Can you even see what I'm dealing with right now? Or perhaps you want me to split myself in two, create a copy, and deal with this instead of you?" Hun Huzi immediately fell silent after hearing this. The Nihility devouring flame might have been the strongest existence present, but it was currently dividing its attention to stabilize the seal. Moreover, it had been injured by the soul fragment of Yao Di during the Great Battle. On top of that, it had currently transformed into countless members of the Tunling clan. Under these circumstances, it simply did not have enough strength to divide its attention any further. However, Hun Yan suddenly intervened. As one of the 4 demon saints of the Hun clan, he mockingly glanced at Yao Dan. "Hun Jing, I will leave this Yao Dan to you. I will deal with that brat myself." His body flashed, leaving behind an afterimage. In the next instant, he immediately rushed toward the path of Xiao Yan's group, blocking their way. Hun Yan's speed was terrifying. After only a few breaths, he appeared in front of Xiao Yan's group and let out a cold laugh. "Xiao Yan. That name sounds familiar." There have been many rumors about you within the clan. If I had not been preparing for the plan, I would have already gone out to meet you. You are the only person in many years who has repeatedly managed to harm my Hun clan." Xiao Yan's expression became ugly. Hun Yan's strength was extremely terrifying. He had reached the peak of the 7-star saint level and was far stronger than Yao Dan. At this moment, old Shen Nong immediately attacked from behind. Life Spirit Flame. A vast sea of green flames gathered and transformed into an enormous flaming beast. It then fiercely charged toward Hun Yan. Hun Yan slightly smiled when faced with the sharp attack of the enormous beast. His large hand suddenly clenched. The Life Spirit Flame. I am also very interested in it. Once I capture you, this flame will belong to me. Terrifying Do Qi gathered and directly formed an enormous palm that slammed toward the huge flaming beast. The frightening force sent the beast flying backward, and it crashed toward Xiao Yan's group. Old Shen Nong could not help but admit, "The battle power of my flame is indeed insufficient." Xiao Yan's group barely managed to dodge the attack. However, several people behind them were not so fortunate. In front of such a massive attack, even a 1-star saint among them was struck directly. His body collapsed and instantly transformed into a cloud of bloody mist. Xiao Yan had no time to worry about the miserable cries around him. His eyes were fixed on Hun Yan. This man was blocking their path to the destroyed seal. In other words, if they wanted to escape, they had to defeat this monster. However, trying to defeat an expert who had reached the peak of the 7-star saint level was extremely difficult for the current Xiao Yan. North King. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered. The North King transformed into a beam of black light and shot forward. Terrifying power surged toward Hun Yan. Is that a puppet? A trace of surprise flashed through Hun Yan's eyes when he faced the extraordinarily sharp attack of the North King. Even he rarely saw such a powerful puppet capable of fighting at this level. The physical body may be powerful, but a puppet will ultimately remain a puppet. Although Hun Yan was surprised, he did not retreat even half a step. Terrifying Do Qi surged violently through his body. He raised his large hand and easily met the attack of the North King. The wind exploded when his palm struck forward. The enormous and mighty Do Qi forced the North King backward. Several scars appeared on his incomparably tough body. Given the North King's strength, fighting against an expert at the peak of the 7-star saint level was simply too difficult. Little Li. While the North King was holding Hun Yan back, Xiao Yan mentally shouted with all his strength. Little Li quickly shot out from his body. Finally, she completely merged with Xiao Yan's soul. The purifying lotus demon flame erupted in all directions. Xiao Yan's body once again became crystal clear. Even the bones and internal organs within his body were covered by a layer of pink crystal. This was the fusion between human and flame that we had seen earlier, during Xiao Yan's battle with the Dragon King. In this situation, Xiao Yan used it once again. From the very beginning of the battle, Xiao Yan had decided to use his strongest attack. He understood that ordinary attacks were completely useless against an expert of this level. Flame Annihilation Lotus. As soon as his body stabilized, Xiao Yan suddenly clenched his hand. 6 different colored clusters of heavenly flames formed a spiral in his palm before merging together. In a short period of time, he formed a 6-colored flame annihilation lotus. An aura of destruction spread out the moment the fiery lotus was formed. Xiao Yan's hand trembled. The flame annihilation lotus shot toward Hun Yan with lightning speed before exploding a short distance away from him. A terrifying energy explosion resounded. Any member of the tunneling clan within 1,000 meters of the storm was instantly killed. Their bodies transformed into black blood, which then evaporated under the terrifying high temperature. However, Hun Yan's icy voice continued to emerge from within the storm. You possess some ability. However, if this is your trump card, you should obediently hand the Tuasha ancient god Jade over to me. I can still allow you to die peacefully. The fiery storm swept across the sky. Everyone could clearly see the terrifying black vapor rising from the center of the storm. Hun Yan had actually managed to block the raging fiery storm. He stepped on empty air in the middle of the black vapor and took a step forward. His clothes fluttered in the wind, while a cold smile remained on his face. Xiao Yan saw Hun Yan standing there unharmed. This was the first time he had used the flame annihilation lotus while utilizing the flame body. He had not expected that he would still be unable to seriously injure Hun Yan. The strength of an expert at the peak of the 7-star saint level was truly terrifying. However, old Shin Nong noticed something. The lotus had still played a role. Hun Yan's aura is somewhat unstable. It seems that your attack did manage to injure him. However, it is not enough to seriously wound him. Xiao Yan, we must escape as quickly as possible. Otherwise, once the experts of the Yao clan are completely wiped out, we will probably no longer be able to escape. Yao Lao also shouted urgently. Xiao Yan nodded. He stared at Hun Yan, then suddenly exhaled and spoke. Elder Shin Nong, Yao Tian, lend me your heavenly flames. Old Shin Nong and Yao Tian were stunned by his words. However, there was no time to ask questions at this moment. Old Shin Nong reacted first. He waved his hand, and the staff in his hand immediately appeared in Xiao Yan's hand. Yao Tian also quickly spat out a cluster of dark brown flames. The Life Spirit Flame, ranked 5th on the Heavenly Flame ranking, and the Earth Turtle Flame, ranked 13th, quickly transformed into 2 differently colored flames in Xiao Yan's hands. He could feel a slight resistance from them. After all, these 2 heavenly flames already had their own masters. Fortunately, Xiao Yi came to his aid. Because of his complete fusion with Little E, Xiao Yan temporarily gained the ability to use other people's heavenly flames. Now, he no longer possessed 6 types of heavenly flames. He possessed 8. 6 of them were his own, while 2 had been borrowed from the Yao clan. The merging flames released a deep rumbling sound after these 2 additional types of heavenly flame joined them. Xiao Yan's expression became solemn as he sensed the changes within his flames. Although he currently possessed the spirit of the heavenly flame, Little E, he still knew very little about these 2 foreign heavenly flames. Naturally, he encountered considerable difficulty while trying to merge them with the others. But if he could successfully combine all 8 flames into a single flame lotus, an unprecedented 8-colored flame annihilation lotus would appear, and its power was bound to be truly terrifying. The might of a flame lotus formed from 8 different types of heavenly flame could genuinely possess enough destructive power to destroy the world. The 7-star saint of the Hun clan noticed these terrifying fluctuations. His gaze focused on the 8-colored flames in Xiao Yan's hands. Even his eyes involuntarily twitched. He could actually sense danger from this power. This brat is truly extraordinary. He is only a 5-star saint, yet he can unleash such a terrifying attack. The fiery lotus shone brightly. Countless pillars of light containing the power of destruction suddenly erupted. They shot out from the fiery lotus. Anyone struck by the flame lotus would be turned into ashes almost instantly. The 7-star Saint Hun Yan was struck first. His body was pierced through. However, he did not turn into dust. Terrifying Do Qi continued to erupt from his body as he desperately tried to block the erosion caused by the destructive power. However, the flame lotus formed from 8 types of heavenly flame was no ordinary attack. The brilliant light in the sky looked like a blazing sun. The intense, piercing radiance enveloped practically the entire Yao realm. An indescribable destructive force swept across the heavens. It seemed as if the entire realm was about to collapse. Xiao Yan grabbed Yao Lao and the others. Their bodies were thrown backward while the purifying lotus demon flame formed an enormous fiery barrier in front of them. Only then was the group able to defend themselves against the terrifying attack. But just how powerful was the 8-colored flame lotus? Had it managed to injure a peak 7-star saint? The destructive power continued to rage for a long time before gradually disappearing. A black figure began to fall from the sky. The 7-star saint of the Hun clan crashed violently into the ground, creating a massive crater. Xiao Yan stared at him. He could vaguely see the injuries on Hun Yan's body. Black vapor continuously rose from him. His body had clearly suffered serious damage, and his aura was much weaker than before. It was obvious that he had at least been seriously injured. Old Shen Nong exhaled slowly as he stared at the scene in complete shock. It was difficult for him to imagine that Xiao Yan had actually managed to injure an expert at the peak of the 7-star saint level to such an extent. Unfortunately, there was still a second expert. And there was also the nihility devouring flame itself. A cold glint flashed through Hun Yan's eyes. He suddenly struck his palm against the North King's body. The suddenly increased force caused the North King's chest to cave inward. If he had not been a puppet, this palm strike would already have taken his life. Moreover, the fierce wind generated by the palm sent the North King flying 1,000 meters away. After that, Hun Yan moved. He intended to strike Xiao Yan directly. Stop him! Yao Lao's expression changed drastically when he saw this. He coldly shouted and released a pillar of Do Qi. However, such an attack was completely ignored by Hun Yan. He casually waved his hand and brushed it aside. What an intense turn of events! Can Xiao Yan successfully escape? We will take a look at that in future videos. Thank you very much for watching, and see you all next time.